Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Woohoo! Hey, that's an intro, eh? I always like to draw that out just to make sure YouTube page is working, and it is. Awesome. Kevin's driving the bus today. It'd be interesting to see if there's a noticeable picture quality difference. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And, considering how much you guys pay for this, I don't think anybody has any cause for complaint. Um, I do find it interesting. Like right now, it says concurrent viewers. There's two people watching. Is that you, Kevin? Oh, remember yesterday we saw that there was like five people watching this, even though it was unlisted. I wonder if Google is sitting in on us just making sure we don't say any names of pharmaceutical products they don't want us talking about. Anyway, arr. Okay, here we are. We had an extended session of the Daily Brief today, so it's about 10:45 here. We got Brew on the inside of the side. Woohoo! And actually, it's kind of cool in the lounge right now. People are going, hey, welcome, buddy. You made it. Way to go. Keep in mind, we have a 30-day trial. I mean, you can just come in and hang out on the inside for a month just to see what the hell it is we do. And of course, you get access to those things like daily briefs and stuff like that. Today being Wednesday, Tuesday evenings on the West Coast, we have our TRI Secret Options Formula Group Meeting. Actually, I think maybe we should change it into TRISWF Secret Warrant Formula Meetings. The kids, of course, these crazy ass fucking traders are ridiculous. Look at the, I'll just show you just because it's just so incredible. I wasn't even in the trade. So it's like, you bastards, you left me behind. Look at what these guys were doing today. And they're all excited. And of course, Kevin's going nuts. Hey, look how many doubles I got today. Look at that. These cocksuckers were down here buying this thing down in here. Look at that. Kevin, you want to just affirm for anybody watching this later on, you were selling and making some killer dough up top here?
Affirmative.
There you go.
165, I think was my level.
Wow. I mean, it's just stunning, right? I mean, you just sit there and go, God damn it, that's ridiculous.
If they want to double it again from there, I'll sell them some more at, what is that, 330?
You're up here. That's your next spot up here.
Yeah, 330.
I mean, total all-star, eh? I mean, just absolutely incredible. So, way to go, Kevin. Very proud of you. You guys put in the hard work, you put in the time and effort, and they're reaping the rewards. That's what this is all about. You
Yeah.
got to get to the point. Oh, you got something more you want to add?
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, thanks. I actually can say that I didn't even know what a warrant was before I met you.
Before he met me, all he heard was out of the policeman's mouth when it came to warrants, right?
Yeah, that's right. The only warrant I'd ever heard of was the one that wanted my arrest.
We'll leave that for those other people. We'll just play the stock market warrants and kill it. What the hell, eh? I mean, these warrants are ridiculous. But having said that, this is not for the faint of heart. This is high octane trading. It's what we do at TRI. If you'd like to get to the point where you're participating in this insanity, well, maybe consider joining our education program. As I said, and actually Kevin does a fantastic job of this. He's been putting the links and stuff to the raffle. We've got a raffle coming up for a level 1 seat here this weekend. We'll do it sort of as a New Year's event. So be sure to post your name. Actually, I don't even know where the hell the damn link is. How completely and utterly unprofessional of me. Sorry, everybody. Let's see if I can just show you that. And it's kind of a weird format that I'm doing here today. But actually, there's a bunch of fun stuff here. So first off, like I said, we've got the raffle coming up here. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about TRI, and if you want to join the raffle, which is this Sunday, and also learn a little bit, we got that page in the video description link as well. And this is so cool. Another awesome feature of Kevin. I mean, the guy's just a fucking all-star. he set up this little swag page. We got a few things in here. It turns out this T-shirt's actually pretty popular. So, if you feel like grabbing some swag, totally awesome. We don't really make any money off of this, so don't think this is some sort of shill. It's just that people have been like, we want swag, man. So, okay, fine, we put it together. So there's that. And then also, like I said, Brew Hoo Hoo finally pulled the trigger and got his 30-day free trial going. There I am. What a handsome guy. So feel free to join that. I mean, is that a shill? I've given this away for free. Anyway, so we got those links. They're in the description. Kevin's been doing a great job of updating and rocking that. And of course, like we said, we got that raffle on Sunday. So, if you want to take your trading to the next level, you want to learn how to do this like a boss, like Kevin in here, making money like all-star, well, feel free. The invitation is open. I've been going on at length that I believe that we're coming into some sort of massive cycle apex pivot here. We've had the tax loss push now, and you can kind of see, if we look at the stock market, you can see it's sort of like big push, and now it's sort of like, okay, now what the hell do I want to do? Insanely risky market state here. Ironically enough, if this asset was left to its own devices, we'd be right back down, testing V bottoms, filling in gaps. The only problem is this is a heavily politicized product. And my hunch is, if we see any sort of signs of, all right, we're getting ready to finally, let's get some bankruptcies going. Let's get this whole system cleaned out. The central bankers will just come in because remember, they're the ones that own all the paper. Do you think they're going to want these companies to declare bankruptcy? And that's it? The bonds are gone? They disappear? No, there's no fucking way in hell they're going to let that happen. So they're going to get the Fed, which is just basically an association of a whole bunch of private banks, to just go print a whole bunch more money, buy all those bad bonds that the company was going to default on. But now they're mysteriously over on this Fed balance sheet thing, and the game goes on. Welcome to, I guess that's modern monetary theory for you. To me, this all smacks of just disaster, of course. And really, the question ultimately here is, do you think that the bankers are going to buy into this modern monetary theory nonsense and see their assets be diluted into the ground? No. There will be a day of reckoning coming down. But I couldn't see why it would happen before this big tax-driven event yesterday. And then also, too, while we're in the middle of a crisis, capitalists can get away with anything. Politicians can get away with anything. They just blame it on the crisis. Oh, we got to triple the outstanding government debt? Well, we're in a crisis. Perfectly fine. Canadian politicians, they go, oh, well, would you have us do? Yeah. So it sort of puts you in, you're going to endorse starvation? You're going to endorse eviction? No, obviously not. So I got a funny feeling that this whole damn thing is being finessed here. And my hunch is, and this is the way it played out in 1980, when we were in the interest rate crisis, inflation was out of control. They brought Paul Volcker in, war on inflation. What did he do? Well, he actually drove the U.S. economy into recession and broke the back of inflation. Obviously, it's not an inflation concern we have here this go round. It's a deflation concern. You can't write better fiction than reality, and I wouldn't suggest anybody actually predict what the fuck's going to happen here. Just roll with the punches. Don't put yourself into a position where you've taken too much risk. A guy like me, I'm sitting, I started off a little demo account at the beginning of the year with like 80,000 or so. I took 25% of that, said, look, I'm a chicken shit by nature. So I took 20 grand, put it into equity. This silly account now is up to like 110, 115,000. So that 20 grand in equity has gone up like to what, 40, 50 grand, or I guess 40 grand, somewhere in that area. I mean, just ridiculous numbers. And I am spending a lot of time farming, raising cash, raising cash, raising cash here. I've got the cash balance now up to about 70. So technically, of that 40 that I have working in the market, I only have like 10% actual risk to my bottom line. That's a whole bunch of double talk, gobbledygook stuff. So really not relevant. But I'm feeling very comfortable in the equity that I own. And as prices move higher, of course, I'm spoon feeding, spoon feeding, spoon feeding. That's sort of the bigger picture. It's very difficult to come to you and say, oh, yeah, well, you should buy this, you should sell that in an environment like this where there really aren't any setups. We had interesting, head fakes both directions. You can see these notes. Interestingly enough, all my insurance policies, they're all just puttering along. Like this little guy here I bought on the Canadian market. Look at that goddamn key reversal. Huge, right? Just trade. You can see they ran the stops of this first key reversal. But insurance, is it a good idea just to put some of this stuff on the books, maybe buy a call option or two on this kind of product? So if the market just totally craps out, which I see somewhere through this window, at least you got your ass covered. That's kind of how I'm approaching my risk. In fact, actually, today I went and I got filled. This is a really good example of, our meeting last night, TRISOF. This is a really good example of a secret options formula that tells me that the numbers justify me going in and actually thinking about the Canadian dollar topping out and actually starting to come back down and clean up all this mess that's been created since last late summer, early spring. I tell you, I'm darn tempted. I can't really do it in the stock market. I mean, this thing's just gone absolutely apeshit. I don't even think it has options. But look at all these gaps. I mean, at some point, they're going to calm down, and all of these gaps will all be filled in. They sure got this thing on the run right now, though, eh? I suppose what I'm supposed to be doing with you guys is going off of this little matrix here. So why don't we get back on course? So US dollar index, and probably the reason why we see Bitcoin do those crazy ass moves to the upside. We had recent new bullish bots come in off of lower time frames. We did hit major objectives off higher time frame setups. This is a cute little sort of 30-minute lower time frame setup. It's actually pointing all the way up here to 31.5. And I'm wondering whether, just Mr. Powell himself said, just get us into year end, get us into year end, get us into year end. So I'm just wondering whether they really want this thing as weak as possible into year end. All the tax shenanigans shit has all been done. We've hit downside objectives, A, B, C, D kind of stuff. We've slammed into fibs that even Kevin might consider buying. And now finally, remember, look left. We're now finally back down into actually where key support is on this thing. So here we are, finally made it. I bought some January 2022 calls. I think I bought them in here, so very early. Interesting, Kevin was saying, the premiums on those options are not really moving much. Nothing trade-wise for me to do here today. It does, to me, explain why gold and silver are as strong as they are, why Bitcoin's as strong as it is. I just wonder whether this is the end of the move or the beginning of the move. And since we did just break to a new low, obviously there's going to be no buy signal here issued yet. And probably it's going to, hunches, this probably goes right through the whole Biden inauguration stuff. And from what I understand, Mr. Trump is still playing politics down in the States and forcing the right-wing sort of faction in the U.S. Senate into a very uncomfortable position right now. So I think there's still some politics going on with this thing right now. Oh, what a mess. Anyway, so US dollar is relatively weak. We should expect to see stocks relatively strong. We should expect to see, basically risk on proxies relatively strong. They're just not really doing a hell of a lot here, are they? I think stock market's sort of waiting for, well, is this going to be a $600 check or is it going to be a $2,000 check? That probably is going to dictate our short-term direction. But, I think probably an important point to make here is that through the 2000 cycle pivot, that was the last time we had a Jupiter Saturn cross, and it was a bullish event, a greed cycle apex. I remember distinctly that into that event, the fundamental talk in the marketplace was Y2K. And airplanes were going to literally fall out of the sky January, to 1201, January 1st. So everybody had to go buy a new computer. And of course, those numbers were expressed through first quarter earnings season. So prices were bid up through sort of early January, February. Then the earnings numbers started to come out. And then that was it. Nobody bought a computer after Y2K. So literally, that was the top, and the whole floor fell out of the market from there on. My hunch is same sort of scenario. And in this regard, I actually think what's happened here is it's fear. So things like gold and silver and Bitcoin, um, probably bonds also to a certain degree, um, should be well bid into this cycle apex. Of course, Bitcoin, I think, stole a lot of gold sort of thunder. Um, the perplexing part about all this is why the stock market was as strong as it was through the fear cycle apex. But nonetheless, it is what it is. But, on the other side of this event, once all that's done, now, I could actually see Y2K could be very similar to the way that governments and everything are ramping up with the purchases of all these vaccines. So, they go and buy 100 million vaccines, billions of vaccines. All right, that's done. Now what? I don't know whether COVID is done here. I mean, maybe we're going to be living with this for years. Also, too, you might argue through COVID environment, especially things like NASDAQ, and everybody went and bought a new computer, bought their Zoom, right? Video conferencing equipment, Microsoft, Google, and all that kind of YouTube stuff. So maybe there was a big ramp up in spending around that as well. So, and then also, too, if we do actually wrap our head around this COVID problem, get vaccines going, do you think there's going to be more impetus for stimulus down the road and bailing out the public, giving them free checks, putting halts on evictions and stuff like that? I doubt it. So this to me feels like the perfect storm. Exactly how long this takes to roll over here, it's anybody's guess. These are 40-year generational events. If this takes a year or two to play out, that wouldn't surprise me. So, trade-wise, of course, banging out doubles in stock market like a fucking madman. Did notice that my banging out doubles sort of rant stalled out here as the fractals started to come in. But I do have a couple names that are basically right there and ready to spit out doubles. Just need a little push higher. So, just, farming our business of small trading. We talked, of course, about Kevin's crazy ass win here this morning. A bunch of TRIers. They were quite happy when they woke up this morning. And of course, anybody who is trading bots, I had this. In fact, I actually even put the tweet out because it was such a pretty simple image. Just something like this, just really, really simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Nice consolidation. After a big run up, you have to wait for that consolidation. You were second guessing the market through all of this, you got chopped up. Then, start to hunt for those 3 higher lows kind of idea. Hopefully you can start seeing, hey, this kind of looks very WE kind of action. All right, well, maybe we're getting ready for another one. And doink, we just hit a big bullish objective here overnight. And we had sort of talked, and I put tweets out, on this move here. It seemed a bit suspicious with both of these objectives not hit, that we weren't done here yet. And as you can see, even now, we're surging higher. So this is a little bit higher time frame, but also too, so that objective looks like that's all that trade's basically done now. Whoops, let's go back here. And interestingly enough, traders got to trade your setups, put your opinions away. I think there were lower time frame setups that fired here. I guess that was off of this, right? That's this one. Again, you just don't know what the fuck's going to happen in this world. This is why, well, you've heard me say it, right? Put your opinions away, just trade your setups. So, in this particular case, now we're like, day traders. I don't even really like talking these kind of time frames with the public. But boom, 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 boom. We're in this crazy ass fucking orgy. 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows. Oh boy, here we go. And away she goes. So this particular setup, had you taken it, you're given permission to move your stop to scratch now. You shouldn't lose money on this. And it almost looks to me like, and in a weird sort of way, can you see how it's like building to an apex here? Because now you've got this little son of a bitch working. You see that? Boom, boom. Boom, boom. You can just see that they're just getting ready to take this thing parabolic here. So, had you taken this setup and, you just don't know as a trader, you move your stop to trailing at this point, so you shouldn't lose money. And of course, you're looking for a big fat tag of 31.5. Maybe that happens on the US dollar finally puking out here and really running the weekends out. That's definitely possible. As I had said earlier, the gold market has been kind of left behind a little bit through all this. But pointing higher, actually, interestingly enough, the proxy that I like in that space is these little junior stocks. And I was even tweeting back at Peter Brandt and another gentleman who are going, holy Jesus, these junior gold stocks look like they're on fire. And you're right. And actually, it was funny. One of our TRIers, I'm long from 6.5, 7 cents on this one. And one of our TRIers is like, well, I'm long from 6, so fuck you. I already got my double. I'm still waiting for my double right here. But look at that move. I mean, are you supposed to be able to double your money that fast? This is crazy. So, it is what it is. Slow and steady wins the race. But, this is the part of the market that is HOT hot. He's like, look at this little junior, cute little bot. Away she goes. So that's the part of the market that's really got my attention here today. That's for sure. The little junior gold, not really gold, sort of like mining names. Here's another one. These guys are in the fluorite business. I mean, you tell me. Would have been a half decent buy to go and pick up some of this when I was going ape shit through on this back in August. I was super ridiculously bullish on this. And I'm getting paid. Thank you very much. So keep your eyes peeled on this junior mining space. I don't know what's going on here, but wow, they look good. Now, what I wanted to show you was in the senior space, this is the way that I'm playing this metals move. It looks like trade's working away nicely. Hopefully you guys have been watching. Brew, we finally got him on the inside after watching these free videos on YouTube. He's like, fuck it, man. The old man wants me in, so I'm in. Anyway, if you watch these videos long enough, you hopefully see this very consistent trade pattern that I like to trade. And really, the irony of it all right now, my number one job as a trader, right? I am long off of this W bottom breakout, somewhere in that area. My number one job here is don't get in this trade's way. Just let it do its thing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not getting in its way. I'm just going to let it do its thing. And, if we get up into 26 and change, you'll be hearing me ringing the register. So that's the kind of market it is. It looks to me like the fear cycle apexes are going, or fear cycle proxies are going ape shit into this year end. And I guess that's just par for the course in this kind of environment. Make hay while the sun shines. Follow your trading plan. Don't take don't take what? Wooden nickels? How does that go? And slow and steady wins the race. With regard to the corn, I mean, I don't know whether you're trading these lower time frames. I mean, I do like to point these out. I think it makes sense what's going on there. And then, of course, all the people in the public, they love it when I do this stuff. Oh, isn't that interesting? We just hit a 3-to-1 angle there, so maybe we'll see some stallage. There's no way in hell I could be a buyer here, right? That was the end of the move, not the beginning of the move. But all you people in the public love when I do these kind of charts. I think it's this one. That's a big W. Bang, 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 bang. So if you are a big W and you are going to face rip and you are absolutely out of control, where are you actually telling us you want to go? Oh, Jesus H. Christ. 50 G's? Wow. That shows the ETH as a test of the old highs. I think actually Litecoin, its Falcon shows that it goes to slightly higher highs. And it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. When? Well, and actually, it's kind of weird, eh? So tomorrow, like what's going on right now, I think, is what's called window dressing. So somebody's a mutual fund owner, something like that. They're going to open up their package. They would, especially with the way Bitcoin's acted here, it's going to be all over the media as one of the best performing assets. Blah 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 blah. They want to open up their mutual fund statement and see that, oh, my fund owns Bitcoin. Okay, cool. Well, I'll stay with this fund. So I think that's what's going on here right now is you're getting the people that wanted to sell, tax loss driven, all that kind of stuff, they've done. Now the people that are in the market right now, it's all about this window dressing and what does your mutual fund statement look like when you open it up in early January? And you'll probably find like that grayscale fund is probably just going nuts here today. What's the symbol for that thing? Do you know offhand? Remember I showed you that Bitcoin ETF in Canada, how it's going crazy. I don't even, oh, there it is. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Let's see what it looks like. Actually, they couldn't even take out the highs from the other day. That's surprising. I would have thought this thing would have been much higher. But, all you guys who watch this channel, I mean, just look at this image. Do you got any business coming in and buying Bitcoin here? Come on. If anything, this is just like a shit coin, right? Same shit, different pile. You're just going to take your high, whatever the hell it is. You're going to draw it back against the low. You're going to draw your reload zones, and it's going to tell you where to start thinking about buying. What a coincidence. Basically, this asset is telling you you can start getting interested in buying when we get back down where everybody else is long this thing. If you are buying here, you are buying where nobody is long this thing. You're out there on your own. Good luck. I would much rather be long an asset like this from where all the big players are long, so that if it does start dipping down here, all these guys go, hey, what the fuck? What the fuck? And they step in and defend this. And of course, Mr. Hoagland, which will drive you crazy, he doesn't like to buy unless we get down to the bottom of value. So I can see the next trade setting up here on this damn thing. Mr. fucking kill the warrants market. Kavarkanator likes that level, right, Mr. Kavarkanator? Are you there, Mr. Kavarkanator?
Right.
There he is. You know that he's going to be there along with Mr. Hoagland. I could, you know what? I'm going to save this image just because I know that when we get back down there, I'm going to remind Kevin, we are hitting your 88.6. Are you doing anything?
Oh, man, if we get back down there, I'll be buying for sure.
All right, cool. How long this takes, ironically enough, I think the market's actually telling us exactly when to expect this too. All right, we'll just draw a simple trend line. Boom, 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 boom. So when do these numbers intersect? Looks like somewhere right around here. September, August. Oh, look at that. August, September, October 2021. That is so perfectly cliche. It's ridiculous. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But that if so, like if I still had my financial advisor's hat on and somebody came to me and said, "Well, Brian, I'd like your professional financial advice," I would say, "Okay, don't do anything." And when we get down into reload zones and we start putting in W's and Mr. Hoagland's buying and Kevin's buying, and you start getting this kind of image on your screen, then you can buy, right? Like this, down or up. Don't buy here. Wait for the goddamn W's, and it turns out there they are. Problem here is, I'm sure 90% of what I just said there went in one ear and out the other. But oh well, we'll see what happens. Only the time will tell. All right, so looks like everybody is just parked into year end here. That's remarkable. The whole broader market just went stop. Small caps catching a little bit of a bid against the large cap brethren. Large caps just sitting there. And actually, the large caps look like they're kind of stuck. It looks like Google's about ready to get shit on here. So that would be so fitting, eh? Look at that head and shoulders top coming in on Goog. Wouldn't that be just beautiful? They announced big antitrust lawsuit. They're going to look into breaking up Google. Whatever. If I understand correctly, Mr. Trump has said that I will not pass the legislation that you put forth unless the social media companies are held to account. Maybe he gets that wish, and the social media companies get just absolutely destroyed here. But you can see the Google is sitting there. That looks very precarious. You can see Facebook. I was thinking there was a options play on Facebook. The problem is the damn stock's so expensive. Interesting how Apple now, right up against its old highs, could potentially be fractaling out here. So we'll see how we finish on the day. But a trade through that low tomorrow, if this holds, is a sell signal. And notice we got the same thing happening on Microsoft. So Microsoft and Apple, these are some pretty damn big companies that are kind of fractaling out here. Now, the only thing that sort of leads me to believe that tech won't fall out of bed is that people are probably still buying a lot of shit online. And this little Amazon little bot here is trying desperately to confirm. So that might be your outlier that saves tech here. But I'll tell you, these tech charts and even the NASDAQ itself, wow, is this ever looking risky? And the problem here is if the stock market just gets absolutely punched in the nose, do you think crypto is going to be able to just brush that off? I don't think so. But, oh well, we'll see what happens. There goes crypto. Woohoo! Window dress, window dress. Interesting to see how the bonds are just cranking higher too at the same time. Crazy market, eh? Okay, let's finish off just our little chat with you. So, rah Bitcoin 31.5 looks like your next objective. Altcoins, we kind of went through the list with Kevin today. He wasn't overly impressed with a lot of them, and I have to agree with him. I mean, I can't force myself to come in and buy when an asset looks like this. I just can't do it. It's just too painful. We're in actually technically shorting windows. Yes, there's a W here. Yes, maybe it's pointing up towards the top, but at the same time too, if we puke out here, I could easily see us come right back down to areas where I would like to be a buyer. And also too, what I noticed that a lot of these kind of indexes, they're actually heavily skewed towards things like these DeFi names, like Stake here, for example. I like Stake, and I'll be an investor. I did buy a little bit, but I really actually would prefer to see it down here. This happens to be versus USDT. I think Kevin showed the community Stake versus Bitcoin. Same sort of thing. It kind of looks ABCD-ish. Like maybe we need to come down. Maybe that was the chain link we were looking at. I can't remember. But I remember some of these names look very ABCD-ish, meaning still a little bit more to the downside to go. So, I don't know. Tough to make the case to be a buyer here, to be honest with you. So, as a result, I'm not. It makes it pretty simple. Just cool on my Jets. I did pick up some of the Dash, but you can see he's in a bit of trouble. I picked up some of the stake, but I've got more bids working down below. Fjord's in his LTO. Interestingly enough, I think the trade's done here for him, but you can see it's trying to firm up against the levels where we bought. We'll see how his investment goes. Doge, Doge basically just gave back Mr. Monk's tout. So obviously, Mr. Monk's rocket scientist. See, a brain surgeon now, I guess. Cryptocurrency timing expert. I don't think he quite owns that. Oh well, I know that is what it is. Capitalism is capitalism. I think I've told you guys before. Don't get into the habit of trying to predict the future. Just trade your setups, go with the flow. If you get stopped out, shit happens. If you are right and the market moves to your destination, your anticipated destination, we'll say, then make damn sure to pay yourself. That's really a trader's life. Ironically enough, get rid of your ego. Ego doesn't mean anything here. Just doesn't mean jack shit. What I love to do, of course, is take contrarian bets, because usually that sets up what they call asymmetrical risk reward. I can risk a buck because everybody is going one direction. And if there's any kind of balking of that trend, maybe my buck turns into $2, $3, $4, $5, $6. That's the whole premise of buying W's, selling at 50% rules, that kind of idea. And my account balances are going up nicely. So it must be working. And I'm the type of guy, I want to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. Opinions don't mean anything. I just want to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. Okay, I think I'm done the rant here for today. Jesus, that was quite long. Hope you guys got some value out of all that. Great to see people who do watch these videos consistently get convinced to come on over to the other side and participate in the real fun when you get to listen to people like Kevin talk, who actually have half a brain, not good old Beamish. I think it's worth it. So, if you've been watching the channel for a while, and you're kind of like, okay, I'm ready to take that 30-day trial. Come on down. Be a part of the gang. We have a lot of fun at what we do here on the site. Okay, guys, I'll leave it at that. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. Kevin's driving the bus today, so, sir, if you could take us out of here, I'd love you for it. The only thing left for me to say here today is a big hearty bye for now.